A local university comes in #1 for jobs in the state, fueling our economy and preparing students to compete for jobs. University of North Florida's president will explain the key partner in performing at a high level in so many areas. And she is a nationally known leader in the revitalization of cities and transformation of public spaces. The Great City Symposium keynote speaker joining us on This Week in Jacksonville. So glad you're with us today. So what are the great ideas that can change a community, and what could Jacksonville capitalize on? That's in some ways the mission of the Great City Symposium. This year's gathering, the 5th annual, and it took place this week at the Garden Club of Jacksonville on Riverside Avenue. Joining us right now, Carol Coletta, the keynote speaker at this year's symposium. Welcome. It's fun for me every time I get to meet someone new, and I just love that we get to talk about the efforts that are made to improve these places that we live and call home and what have you. So you're nationally known as a leader in revitalization of cities, transformation of public spaces, and most recently you were president and CEO of the Memphis River Parks Partnership. What's the big takeaway for you as you delivered some comments to people in Jacksonville this week?
Well, Jacksonville has this amazing asset, so much waterfront.
Yeah.
And I think Jacksonville has an opportunity now to capitalize on that asset in a way that it hasn't yet done. So I think it's a matter of development, of programming, of joining it all together so that it forms one continuous opportunity for people to enjoy the riverfront, but also back to Jacksonville, right into the city, so that the riverfront is not separate from the city, but in fact is joined up.
Yeah, and it's interesting to us, you obviously have experience here, but there's not just the downtown, the North Bank side, there's a South Bank side too, so it exponentially increases the opportunities there. I know that, Carol, you've dedicated your career to creating places that matter, is what I read in the biography here. You've served in some senior level positions for doing this. Mayor's Institute on City Design is one of the things. For the past 8 years, I know you were with Memphis Riverfront Parks Partnership there. Do you see places that matter in Jacksonville, and what does that look like as you're talking about connecting and riverfront and downtown and all of that?
Well, I certainly am not a Jacksonville expert. You're a Jacksonville expert. But what I see is that, again, you are gifted with this incredible asset of water and this riverfront that extends, as you say, both sides of the river. That's very unusual. And so how you capitalize on that, I think, is where you can really make a place that matters. Because again, water always draws people. Water always adds value. And the question is, can you capitalize on that desire that people have to be near the water and capitalize on the value that produces? And that is the opportunity sitting right here, right now in Jacksonville.
Carol, what are some of the comments that you left with the folks who came to the Great City Symposium? And maybe even what is some of the advice of how you make some of that happen? For the 15 years I've been here in Jacksonville, I've heard we need to capitalize on having the St. Johns River right through the heart of our city. But it doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't happen overnight, but it doesn't happen unless you get started. And so the key, I think, now is you've built some assets, you're building some assets, and you have plans to build more. The question is, how do you manage those assets as one connected piece and put that in the hands of an organization that can hold the vision and raise additional funds over many years, not just a political cycle.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask.
And
that's not just, oh, the mayor's office needs to take this, or Parks and Development. It's got to be something longer term, I think.
It does. The mayor and the elected officials, of course, absolutely have a role to play. This is public space. But I think they don't wake up every day thinking only about the riverfront. What you need is an organization where the leadership, the board, thinks every single day about how do we make this great asset that we have in the water, how do we develop alongside it both the public and the private space that does this water justice and gives people, an opportunity to come and enjoy it, because this asset is very special. Not many cities have what Jacksonville has.
It's interesting because I've traveled at times with folks from Jacksonville who are looking at best practices other places. There are other cities in the United States that say, we need to create a water, we need to create a river that goes through here. And we don't have to create it, we just have to maximize it.
That's exactly right. I mean, I always think about a riverfront as something, that's a gift we did nothing to earn. It's there for the taking, and so what we have to do is capitalize on it. And again, I feel like Jacksonville is very close to establishing the organization mechanism, right? The 501c3 that is needed to be able to give private donors the assurance that their money will be held for this purpose, won't get lost in some other fund, and that it also relieves the city of the burden of thinking every day about the riverfront, and yet city dollars still need to flow to that public property to deliver to citizens what they deserve.
I'm curious about this. So the Great City Symposium, annual civic leadership event, and it's hosted by Scenic Jacksonville. Launched in 2019 as part of Scenic Jacksonville's mission to inform, educate, and facilitate community conversations about how Jacksonville can learn from our peer cities' successes and challenges. Your experience, is that common in other cities? Is that something that happens everywhere, or is this something that could be unique and a driver for what you're suggesting Jacksonville could do?
Well, people only know what they know. They only know what they've seen. And to the extent that Scenic Jacksonville brings other voices and other stories to the community, I think that can accelerate progress. But again, as I say, you've got to get started. And everywhere people are telling me, you know, we've been talking about this for 20 years. You said, we've been talking about this for 15 years. It's time to stop talking and start the work that will capitalize on this great natural asset you have that very few other cities have. I mean, that can make, when I think about Jacksonville, there's not one image that comes to mind. And I think with the riverfront, you really have that opportunity to create that thing that pops in people's heads, and they think, my God, what a magnificent waterfront right in the heart of the city Jacksonville has. I think it can be a definer of the city if you capitalize on it the way I know you can.
Yeah. Well, Carol Coletta, I appreciate your insights. Thank you for taking the time to be in Jacksonville to speak at the Great City Symposium this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so stay with us. We're turning our attention to higher education in just a moment. Dr. Moaz Lamayam is our next guest, and we're looking at a new initiative for students, and we're celebrating some of the successes in a new #1 ranking for UNF. That's next on This Week in Jacksonville.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
And joining us right now, Dr. Moaz Lamayam, the 7th president of the University of North Florida. I thank you for coming by once again. We were just saying, gosh, it's been a little too long.
Absolutely.
And I want to start with something that your team reported, that UNF is #1 for jobs in the state, fueling economy, preparing students to compete for jobs. And then your team shared some numbers with me. Where does the ranking come, and what does this mean for UNF?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kent, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Yes, it's something we're very proud of at the University of North Florida, is we can say and scream loud, we are #1 in jobs in the state of Florida. And what does that mean? Especially is we're #1 among all our state universities in the percentage of our students who graduate and stay in the state of Florida. So approximately 80% of our students graduate and stay in the state of Florida. Almost 70% of them stay in our region. So think about it, Kent, in terms of return on investment for the state and for the taxpayers. Our students, when they graduate, they stay here. They help businesses stay in our state and our region, expand here, and also help bring more businesses to our wonderful state and our wonderful region. So that's why we're very, very proud.
And when even this week, I heard Mayor Deegan here in Jacksonville talking about we want to raise the level of the standard of living here in Jacksonville, because she was talking about, one of my kids went off to Tampa. I just got her back. I want her to stay. there's that other element of the reason that people would stay is just what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, Kent, when businesses want to relocate here, their first question usually is, are we going to have enough talent in numbers and quality? And this is where we come in, UNF, and you say, yes, we are here, we answer the call, we're flexible, we're nimble, and we'll give you the talent you need.
So when I think of higher education institutions, often they've got a place that they shine. This university is known for this. What are kind of the strategic priorities for UNF? What is UNF known for when people around the state look at
yes.
colleges?
So at a higher level, I think we're the university that we are known for the culture of care. And I really do believe it.
Culture of care.
Yeah, the culture of care.
All right.
It's a university, when you come to University of North Florida, you're not a number. You are a son, a daughter, a member of the family, a friend, that we will take good care of you. Our faculty, because of the infrastructure we have, because of the culture that we have, are not the big, huge classes. So we work really well with that principle in mind. Also, we have infrastructure in place. If we notice that the students is starting to lag behind a little bit, starting with the faculty members, the push on a button, we have a team that is ready, from mental health to advisor, to help that student. So that's what is really important for us. And of course, we have the most beautiful campus, but for us, that's what's really important. And also, what is really important is starting next fall, we guarantee every student, every freshman, at least one internship or similar experiential learning before they graduate. And that is the #1 factor that will position them well for a great job at graduation or shortly after with a competitive salary. I emphasize competitive salaries because that's very good for parents. They want to hear it.
Right, of course, yeah. And so certainly an element that I wanted to discuss with you here, when you say all incoming students participate in internship, well, what I'm reading is that can be anything that's an immersive, hands-on experience, right?
Absolutely.
So would that be research also?
Yeah,
or?
Yeah, it would be research, connecting them with our great faculty to work on real research, and they actually publish. And they publish articles and posters. It could be an internship. This is why, you know, we're the second hottest market here for job market in the country. So companies now realize that internship is really important also for them, because it's almost 3-4 months job interview for these students. If there is a good fit, they hire them. If not, that's fine, because they would have helped them get another job. Research show that around 90% of students with that experiential type of learning, practical, immersive that we're talking about, will have that great job at graduation shortly after with a good salary.
I'm thinking back to my right after college experience. Well, in my college experience, that senior year, having an internship, and in my case, in a local TV station, it opened my eyes to what the professional experience is going to be, how you bridge the gap from what I learned academically, and okay, now practically, here's where it goes in my career.
Absolutely, and see how successful you are.
It worked out for me anyway, yes.
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Maybe bring this back, this idea of these internship opportunities and a guarantee there. Maybe bring back that to the local impact that you were talking about at the beginning of our conversation.
Exactly. So again, looking at the incredible growth that we are seeing in Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, there's a huge need for talent. So that internship is actually part of that funnel that we provide, the pipeline, because let me tell you, we start preparing our students for that internship day one. Teaching them that we have several badges, how to work first on their resume, their letters, work ethics, everything we cover. So our promises for the employers, Kat, is when you hire an intern from UNF, our goal is that your customers, internal or external, will not know the difference, that they are ready, and they were there. We are not looking for internships for our students to make photocopies or to make coffees. That's not the internships that we are looking for. With all respect to the people who do that, we are looking for real hands-on experience, that the one that you had, that will open their eyes, but at the same time, they're helping and doing a job for the employer.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Win-win.
In that kind of
It's
situation.
really win. I call it actually the WWW, the win-win-win. The employers win, the students win, but also our community wins, because we keep businesses here, we attract them. So it's a win-win-win, WWW.
It's going to be a win for us that you stay with us for another segment. So you stay with us too, and when we come back, we're going to look at the support UNF receives from state lawmakers and how the university is putting that to use. Stay with us on This Week in Jacksonville.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville on Channel 4.
Dr. LeMay is our guest today, president of the University of North Florida since 2022. Schools need students, but they need financial support as well. So I wanted to just visit with you. Where do things stand, and how are you putting that support to use?
Yeah, thank you, Kent. And first of all, let me say how grateful we are for our legislators to continuously, unlike many other states, continuously investing into higher educations. And there is a reasons why our state university systems, Kent, is #1 in the country for 8 years in a row, while keeping the tuition the lowest in the country. That's because of the incredible support we've been getting from our legislators, and we're just so grateful for that. Now, for UNF, like you said, we can have the most audacious vision and the best faculty and students, and because we do, and faculty, staff, and students. But if we don't have the resources, the hands would be always tied. And we're very grateful. For the last 2 years or so, we received record injections of reoccurring resources into UNF. And let me tell you, we're so proud we did the math. For every dollar that our state, our taxpayers invest in UNF, they get $11 back. That's more than 1,000% return on investment. I don't know what you call it. I call it an incredible return on investment.
Spectacular numbers, right?
Absolutely. I wish my retirement is invested at the same level. So we do provide the return on investment. Now, what do we do with this money? Of course, first of all, we try to make sure we take good care of our people, because historically UNF was not funded to the level it should be, so our salaries were not where they should be. At least now we're starting the process of increasing salaries so that we can keep our talent, our great faculty and staff. Second, infrastructure, from buildings to advisors to IT and everything in between. And of course, the third thing is financial aid to our students. Again, in a few years or several years, up to 40% of our students are first-generation college students like me. What does that mean? Means no one in their immediate family has a college degree. So by definition, their socioeconomic status is not very favorable. And also no one in their immediate family they can go to for advice on curriculum, advice on careers.
Because nobody's experienced
exactly,
it like they
or even sometimes early adulthood challenges. We are that family, and because of these resources that we get from our state, we are able to have the mental health counseling that we need for our students. We have the advising that they need to make progress. We have a great career center that will prepare them for the internships to guarantee a job. And we have the best faculty and staff.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to leave time before we run out of time, because you made a big announcement recently based on a gift. Tell us about the College of Education and how that's changing.
Great, and that's a great segue, because we're very grateful to our legislators, but also we're very, very grateful to our wonderful donors and friends who continue investing into UNF and helping us change the lives of our students one at a time. So recently, we were so lucky, so honored, so energized to announce the naming of our College of Education and Human Services as the Silverfields College of Education and Human Services, as an acknowledgement of a transformational gift made by Gary and Lane Silverfield that will transform our College of Education and Human Service, but will have an incredible impact on our community. Kent, 77% of our teachers who graduate from UNF stay here and work in local school districts. When you look at Duval School District, it's one of the largest in the country. 1 out of 4 teachers graduated from UNF. So now, because of this transformational gift, we're going to be able to provide more teachers, better teachers, also offer some new programs. We're going to offer, for example, one program we're very excited about is a professional development for coaches, a certificate of 2 years. Yeah. We're going to be able to enhance the research activities in this very important area. Also, money will go to students.
And Dr. LeMay, as we run out of time here, I knew that was important too. I knew that this was a big deal. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing all the updates on what's happening.
My pleasure. It's always nice to be with you.
I'm Ken Justice. Thanks for watching on air on Channel 4 and the CW17 and online at news4jax.com. You can also find us streaming on News4Jax Plus. So next time, we have State Attorney Melissa Nelson with us, now into her 3rd term in office. And don't forget to download or stream This Week in Jacksonville Business Edition. This episode of our podcast looks at Jacksonville University's First Lady, Stephanie Cost, and her impact in creating community. You can find new episodes every Thursday at 9 a.m. Thanks for joining us today.
See why every day more people are choosing News4Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.